Hey, it's Kyler with FollowHook. Today we're talking about message deliverability and spam with Project Broadcast. So a really cool thing about Project Broadcast is they let you use a real phone number. In the telecom industry, text marketing industry, whatever you call it, that's called a long code number. Short code numbers you may have seen before, and those are shorter numbers like 5 digits long or some length like that multiple businesses lease and use for text marketing. So if you've ever had a spammy message come in from a short number, well, that's called a short code number. The advantage of a long code number is that it's a normal phone number, which makes it more personable when you're texting people. You can also call a long code number. It's just a better way to approach text marketing. But a consequence of a long code number is that carriers like AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint are hypersensitive to spam passing over their networks through these numbers. So they each have internal gauges that affect the spam score on your messages. The spam score of a message means, let's say when your message starts out, it has a perfect rating of 0, a 0 spam score. Well, let's say you do something spammy. That might add a 10% spam score to it, or maybe a 20% spam score. And depending on the carrier, that message might just be dropped. So you could send out 1,000 text messages, 100 people get them, and then all of a sudden the other 900 just evaporate. And that's not the fault of Project Broadcast, it's the carriers dropping your message. So that sounds a little scary, but here's the great news. Project Broadcast has a unique, one-of-a-kind tool called Message Insights. And what that tool does is it looks at your text message and tells you whether it's spammy or not. Now just know, Project Broadcast, and no one else for that matter, has access to the specific rule sets that the carriers use. Those are private to them, but Project Broadcast has done a lot of research and has a lot of experience, and so they've built a tool based on this knowledge. So what are some things that make a message spammy? Carriers don't like words in all caps. They don't like excessive punctuation. They don't like salesy talk because a lot of marketers, a lot of spammers use the same vernacular. They also don't like shortened URLs. If you've received a URL from Bitly before, where it's a long, like a link to someone's blog, but they've shortened it down, those don't work. Different things like that. Sending the same message out that's exactly the same to a ton of people, that can also affect the spam score. Sending a really long text message to a bunch of people, that can affect the spam score. So those are some things that Project Broadcast is going to help you identify. So let's jump into Project Broadcast and check out this cool tool. So to demo, I'm just going to open a chat message with one of my people, and here's a basic text message. On the bottom, there's a light bulb icon, and that's Message Insights. This icon is available anywhere within Project Broadcast that you're composing a text message. So if I click on that, it's going to tell me what they think my spam score is. So I'm high up in the green. That's pretty good, but I could go a little higher. So what could I do? The first thing they tell me is the things that are good about my message. It's short. They didn't find any salesy language, and they couldn't find shortened URLs. Now here's the opportunities I could do to make it better. No words in all caps. Make sure my link is not at the beginning or end of a text message. And then use dynamic fields to make a message unique. So we've covered these things in various ways in earlier lessons, but let's just briefly touch on them again. Look at this. I have a word in all caps. And hey, that's how you spell CRM. But to avoid spammy stuff in my text message, I could adjust it. And then look, I put a link at the end of a text message. So if you watched my earlier lessons, you know that is not good. Not just from a spam perspective, but if you put a link at the beginning or end of a text message, it may not show up correctly on the person's phone. So you always want to surround a URL with text. Okay, so I've covered 2 of the opportunities they gave me. They also mentioned dynamic fields. Do you remember dynamic fields? That's a way to pull data from your customer records into a text message to make it more personal. That's going to help carriers see that the message is a little different for each person that you're sending to. So I'm going to click after my hey, click the dynamic field icon, and then pull in a first name. Awesome. Let's check Message Insights now. Nice. I'm way up in the green. And according to Project Broadcast, as far as they can tell, this message is ready to go. So as you can see, this is an extremely valuable tool. Now, I mentioned shortened URLs before. Let me show you what that looks like. If I were to replace my link here with a shortened URL and then check Message Insights, I am all of the way in the red. Because those short links, again, don't just affect your spam score, they will make the message not go out at all. In fact, if I try to send this right now, Project Broadcast isn't even going to let it go out because they know it's not going to work. So that's a great feature to protect my credits and to keep my phone number from being blacklisted with carriers. Now you might wonder, if you had a short link in a scheduled broadcast, what would happen? Since it's a scheduled broadcast and Project Broadcast can't communicate with you like they can in a chat, they're just not going to send the message out at all. Now another way to use this tool is with your templates. So I'm going to click on templates. I have one template here. I'm going to click on it, and then over on the right, I'm going to click the 3 blue dots and then access Message Insights right from there. So if you have existing templates, you can easily go through and check them, or when you're editing a template, you can obviously check them there as well. So thank you, Project Broadcast, for such an amazing tool that's going to help your messages be delivered to the people you're trying to send to. Now, I want to say one other thing about message delivery. When you're using a real phone number like Project Broadcast does to send messages, carriers don't allow you to just blast out 100 messages all at once. They require that messages be sent out no faster than 1 message per second. But Project Broadcast saw that sending 1 message out every second was still causing messages not to be delivered. So they purposely slow down their service to 1 message every 5 seconds. And that drastically increases the delivery rate of your text messages. So the reason you need to know that is if you live out on the West Coast and you start a text message out at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, that seems fine. I mean, it's only 7 p.m. East Coast. But if it's going out to 2,000 people and it's spaced out by every 5 seconds, people are going to get messages late into the night on the East Coast, and that's not cool. So just remember that 5-second delay per message when you're scheduling broadcast messages. And a final note that we've already covered, but while we're talking about Message Insights, I want to mention it again. Remember the differences when you're sending text messages. There's SMS and MMS, short message service, multimedia message service. And how these come into play for you: when you attach an image to a text message, it automatically becomes a multimedia message. Short messages have restrictions on them. So this text message that I'm sending right here, for example, if it were to exceed 80 characters, some carriers like Sprint are going to split the message up into chunks. And the bad part about that is those chunks can arrive out of order. So the way around that, if you add an image to your text message, it automatically turns into a multimedia message, and the carriers do not break those up. So if you think you're close to an 80 character limit, go ahead and add in that image to protect yourself. Project Broadcast also has a function that they try to do behind the scenes. If they see that you haven't done that, they'll try to package your text message as a multimedia message, but that doesn't always work. They can't always make that work with the carriers. So it's best if you stick those images in yourself. And that's really it for deliverability. If you have any questions about Spam Score, about Message Insights, please post on support.followhook.com. And thank you so much for being a FollowHook customer. I know you're going to love Project Broadcast, and very soon we're going to be talking about some fun stuff like integrating with FollowHook and building campaigns, scheduling broadcast messages, etc. I'll see you in another lesson soon. This is Kyler Boudreaux signing off.